Hey guys, welcome to the Dad Cheese Podcast, the dad group you don't have to go to.
Sorry, my waveform is huge, and
That's what she said.
yeah.
Wait, why would she say that?
Why would she say that?
Because she was recording really good
audio. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, because I did notice last one I edited, I used this microphone. Listener, if you haven't noticed by now, I switch microphones almost weekly at this point.
Pretty much.
Whatever's easiest to set up. Now we're on the old Yeti Blue here, USB microphone. And yeah, it sounded really good the last time I edited, which was 2 episodes ago. And then last week I tried a microphone that sounded great, but clearly needed a windscreen because I was just using,
it had some issues, but it was a good quality mic.
Yeah, it sounded great. Not a good vocal mic, but it is a free mic, which makes it a good vocal mic.
Right.
Right before we hit record on this pod, we were talking about some Marvel properties, particularly the Moon Knight. John, have you watched the Moon Knight yet? Is it the Moon Knight? Am I sound like a total loser right now?
You know what? It's the Moon Knight for right now. Because
it's like a dad talking about.
It's funny enough.
You playing the Mario Brothers?
Oh, look at that. Look, you're watching the Iron Man.
Yeah. Have you seen Moon Knight? The Moon Knight?
Let me tell you, listener, if you have not watched the Moon Knight, if you're a fan of the MCU, finish this episode and go watch it. Wait a minute. Stop this episode, go watch it, and then come back, because we're probably going to...
Are we going to spoil anything?
There's really nothing to spoil.
Yeah, if it's the first episode.
Talk about it.
The only thing this episode's really about is like, hey, this show is about Moon Knight.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, man, if you're not a fan of the Marvel MCU, then the Marvel Cinematic Universe, anyways, just bear with us for a minute because...
Yeah. I was talking to somebody recently.
Yeah?
I said the phrase MCU, and they were like, the what? It's like, Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like, I had to explain it to somebody my age.
I was talking to a buddy of mine about it, and I know he watches them. Like, he watches all of them. And he's like, oh, yeah, this person, they're part of the MCU. Or, no. He said, they're in the Avengers movies, right? I said, no, I don't think he's been in the MCU yet. He's in the comic universe, not the cinematic universe. Wait, what? The MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
The Marvel comic book universe?
Right.
Let's not confuse
He doesn't read comic books. I know, and that was, I always thought it was a Marvel comic universe. And then you said something that was like, yeah, this is Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then it clicked, oh, that's what he's saying when he said, like, I thought it was a Marvel comic universe.
Makes sense, I guess. And then, you have to make the decision. It gets harder with the DC EU. It's I think it's like the DC Extended Universe. They didn't go with like DCCU.
The cinematic.
They didn't go with Cinematic Universe because there's a couple different there's like the Arrowverse, like the CW channels, and then there's like the Snyderverse and all that stuff. And now there's going to be a whole new one because they're just rebooting all that stuff. I did hear good things about the Batman though, and that is the Batman.
Yeah,
I heard good things about that one.
According to Snacks, that's how you make things new. You just add or remove the.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Moon Knight, let's make a clarification here. I have not read the Moon Knight comics, but he is not the Batman of the Marvel universe.
Not according to this episode. Let me tell you that.
Well, if
there is an opposite of Bruce Wayne, that's this guy.
I don't know, because that's like a big distinction, and he's one of those characters. I know a little bit about the comic, and I see some things on Instagram, like it'll pop up with a couple comic panels, and it's like, hey, here's something that's coming up. Here's some things from Moon Knight because they're making a TV show about it, and it's like Moon Knight just kind of making fun of the whole superhero genre himself, as he talks about it, because he'll have like his items or whatever. People like proclaim something before they do an action.
Freeze ray.
Yeah, they'll say it before they do it. So he's kind of like random bullcrap, go, and he just like throws a whole bunch of stuff at the villain, whoever he's fighting. That's what he's doing. And
that's all in the that's in the comics.
That's something from the comics. And one of my favorite lines is that he's like, looking for Dracula. Dracula's a big thing, I guess, in Moon Knight.
Okay.
And he's looking for Dracula, and he's like, "Come out here, Dracula. Give me the money you owe me, you effing nerd."
So here's one of the things I didn't get as a kid. I never read comic books because we've talked about it before. I think on the pod where my ADHD brain couldn't read it because I would see, and I've heard a lot of people with ADHD have an easier time reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was trying to read left to right, top to bottom, and you're looking at cells, and if you look like the Spider-Man comics,
yeah,
one Spider-Man image is over 5 cells.
Sometimes, yeah.
And it's like, wait, but what am I supposed to be
here?
reading?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And it was so much going on. It just I couldn't handle it. I loved the idea of them, and I've tried to read a couple of graphic novels since, in multiple different universes, and it's not my thing, and that's okay. I don't have to like everything, and I don't have to like every aspect of Marvel comics to enjoy the Marvel extended
to enjoy
universe,
superheroes.
Yeah, I can still like the story without having to. So apparently comics are not all rated G. I thought they were all like ready for Sunday morning cartoons, you know.
Yeah. No.
Apparently they're not, because Deadpool's a thing.
Yeah.
And
there's a couple out there, and Moon Knight is almost like, I don't think he breaks the fourth wall. I don't know, but he's kind of on that edgier like side of comics, and that's why I think this show is going to have a little bit more of a horror show feel to it, which will be cool. And that's like something the MCU hasn't done yet, is explore the horror genre. But yeah, and I get what you're talking about. I went through like a serious comic book phase.
I definitely understand that. Like it was just creepy enough. Like I spent the first half of it, and granted, there's a whole other topic about this, but I was super, and I watched it thinking, well, let me go ahead and watch this. I think it'll be good. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I watched it Friday morning and then Friday night. I finished it Friday night, but I was confused.
Yeah,
like they start out kind of like weird, like this guy gets out of bed and then walks on the sand. So clearly,
that
I
was
understand.
clever,
I've seen like a trailer or something, so I get that it's like, it's not like Batman where he puts on a costume, or Iron Man where he puts on a costume. he has like a split personality, almost like the symbiote.
Yes,
and so that is all I knew going.
Yeah, that's a big thing with Moon Knight, and maybe this is like spoiler-ish. Like he has multiple personalities, and that is like a part of the character. I thought it was really clever,
not just dual.
It took me a little while, like when I first saw the sand around his bed. It was like, why is he got like footprints? So he'll know.
So he can. And I thought it was going to be like, I thought it was like a warding circle.
Yeah.
And then he stepped out. I'm like, oh, but he see his footprints. Okay, all right, I get it.
All these things to help him figure out whether or not he's like having, sleepwalking. I don't want to say having an episode or something. Sleepwalking or something, getting out there.
Yeah.
And the goldfish, man, that was cool.
I don't get it. I don't understand. It lost me.
That part lost you? His alter
must be a new
personality
goldfish.
Bought a new goldfish. He must have.
I was going to say, he must have. I didn't get it. And
that's totally spoilerific. So I guess that's like a big.
That is a spoiler. Because, dude, let me tell you. The whole, you were here yesterday. And no, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many things that I could talk about. Like, we could make this whole episode about that. And I didn't intend for that to be the case.
No, and let's not. We can move off it in a little bit. But it was good. I really enjoyed it. All that to say, Morbius turns out is really bad. The new
is Morbius, what?
Morbius, the new Sony property, has been getting some pretty bad reviews. Which, you know what, Sony, I could have told you that when you announced it. Morbius is like a C-list Spider-Man associate. Former villain.
Like Moon Knight?
Not like Moon Knight. No. It's just like somebody who comes
I haven't heard of him.
An occasional character in the Spider-Man comics. At least that's kind of where he started out. And nerds, don't bother correcting me. I don't care. But they announced this movie, and I'm like, this is going to be a bad movie. you know, and I don't want to pile on to the guy, but Jared Leto just got off of this awful Joker, and now he's got to deal with this. So I don't know. I kind of feel bad. Is it him?
Wait a minute.
Is it him?
You
though?
didn't like the Jared Leto Joker?
I absolutely hated Jared Leto Joker. That's the worst Joker I've ever seen.
Why?
What a creep! You liked that Joker?
I did.
Oh my gosh, I didn't like him at all. He was
That's
so
interesting. Creepy and like he reminded me of like when you see all of these like video games. Like there was a like a what's the movie where you go around and shoot people? Grand Theft Auto villain. A video game, I meant. There's a Grand Theft Auto video game villain that was very Joker-esque. And I mean, this guy kind of played like the grown-up version of the.
I don't know.
He was creepy. Like the Joker we've seen in well every other time has been kind of PG. Like I'm a bad guy. I'm gonna laugh at you and make you feel bad. The worst one we got was Heath Ledger, and
the
he's
worst
like,
one, like the worst Joker.
like the most evil Joker.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, like Heath Ledger was the worst Joker. Like,
no, he
you
was
were going to
amazing.
isolate our 4 listeners here, John. If you say
I
something.
know. No, because Heath Ledger's Joker was amazing.
Yeah,
and he was better than the Jared Leto Joker.
Oh yeah,
but they were different.
They were different. But when I watched that Joker, what little we got of him, to me it was like, I'm gonna be crazy for the sake of being crazy. I'm gonna do this because it's crazy, and I'm crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's the
like,
point.
No, it felt childish to me, which is weird that you say he's like the grown-up Joker, because to me he just felt really childish. It's like you are an only child who got everything you wanted, and mommy and daddy said no, so you painted your face and now you kill people. Like, that's what I felt like.
How many movies was he in?
He wasn't even like a main character really in anything. He was
like a supporting character in Suicide Squad.
Yes, I think Suicide Squad was his biggest,
which they recast entirely except for Harley Quinn.
Well, I think Will Smith was in both of them.
I don't think so. But
I think he was in the second one. This was before he slapped Chris Rock, so people still liked him back then.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, and I think he had a bigger role in the Harley Quinn movie, which I regretfully have not seen.
The Harley Quinn or like Birds of Prey?
It's called Birds of Prey, and then the subtitle is like The Emancipation of Harley Quinn or something like that. Like, it's all about her breaking up from the Joker.
Yeah, but he wasn't in it. Like, he was referencing it. It may have even been a different actor. I don't remember.
We
didn't get enough of him.
I don't know. The short answer to me is I think he was just awful.
Interesting.
I did not like him at all.
I've seen Suicide Squad exactly one time.
I've seen it
maybe twice. It was twice, but it was like back to back.
Because I watched it in theaters, and I have talked about this before. I kind of have a theater bias.
Okay.
Like, if I see a movie in a theater, I'm probably going to like it just because I enjoy the experience of going to see the movie.
Oh, sure.
So I walked out of Suicide Squad, and I was like, man, it's not bad, I guess. And then I went home and, like, it came out on, like, HBO, and I watched it again.
Yeah.
And, man, that was a bad movie. Like, the first Suicide
Squad
was not good.
Interesting.
I
enjoyed it.
And that's why, they made the next one that was called The Suicide Squad. Right? You had Suicide Squad, then you have The Suicide Squad.
Exactly.
And that one was pretty good from what I've heard. I have not watched that one either. I stopped watching movies when I had 2 kids. So.
Yeah. Really?
I'm trying, though. Like, I'm really trying to branch out and not just watch
Listen, guys,
YouTube.
keep them coming to streaming, and I will watch them. I will even pay extra.
Yeah, if it's something I want to watch.
Yeah.
We will pay extra.
Don't test it with, like, a crappy version of Mulan. Like, don't make that your test case. Make like I don't know, something amazing your test case. So
something that my target demographic wants to see.
Right.
Yeah, and I do it, but even so, like, there's a lot of stuff on HBO Max that I just haven't sat down to watch, and all these movies are on HBO Max, and I haven't sat down to watch them. I regret, though, missing the new Matrix movie. Because,
is it not out anymore?
Well, yeah, I think they pulled it. Like, it was on HBO Max when it first came out, but it was only for a time period, and then they pulled it because they want to do the thing where it's in theaters and then it's not you can't watch it ever until it comes out
Well,
on Blu-ray.
I had to rewatch them because I figured this is 20 years since the last one, so I had to get my mind back into it. I watched the first two, and I couldn't bring myself to watch the third one because the third Matrix movie sucks. But because of that, I couldn't watch the fourth one because I was committed to the bit. Right,
Sure.
I gotta watch all four. So I never got around to watching it. My brother finally told me, "You don't." He'd never seen the third one. He goes, "Yeah, you don't need to see it. This might be something I missed, but you're not missing anything."
Yeah. No, I
He
think
said it was
really,
pretty good though.
I think you only really need to see the first one to understand the.
That would
fourth
be
one.
good.
I think. I have not seen the fourth one, but from what I've heard, that's the case. Anyway, long story short, I'm ready for my kids to be old enough to watch movies that I want to watch.
So I was
MCU
having this
movies and all.
conversation with another buddy of mine, and he's like, I think this movie was too old for my son. And he's talking about like a kid's show. Well, maybe not a kid's show, but like something that.
We
And
watch
I mean,
kids
the
shows.
only. Yeah, I watch a lot of kid shows, but like the only thing that I've watched that I thought after the fact this may be too old was the new version of The Witches. And I'm pretty sure I talked about it
The
on this
Witches?
pod. Like, yeah, The Witches. It was this movie from the 90s where they would turn kids into mice.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, they were bald, they had funky something else.
Oh.
And they go to stay at this hotel, and the witches are having their witches convention that weekend. So we watched it when I was in middle school or elementary school at summer camp because it had just come out. And I'm like, well, this is a little bit creepy, and that's always what I thought, but whatever. I never had nightmares.
Yeah.
So this new movie comes out, and it's rated PG, not PG-13, PG.
Mm-hmm.
And so we watch it with the girls. It's around Halloween time, and I finally decided, like, about halfway through, this movie may be too old for a 3 and almost 2 year. So we watched the rest of it, and that night was like, I'm pretty sure Charlotte May had a nightmare about it, and I felt kind of bad about it. But like, other than that, we don't limit if they're not going to enjoy it, or I think it's going to be too scary. Like they've watched the first Harry Potter, the first half of it several times.
Yeah.
And the second one, the first half of it several times. But once it gets too story driven, they lose.
Sure.
So we don't watch stuff like that. We don't watch anything after that because, well, they're not sitting through the first two. What are they going to do sitting through the rest of them? But they also get considerably darker. Like it's like the first two are really bright and bubbly, and then the third one, it's like they cut the lighting in half. It's all dark, so it's just that sets the tone for the movie, and it's a bit darker.
Yeah.
And they get progressively darker for the rest of them. So not really toddler friendly, but otherwise,
No.
I mean,
My kids, I think, have
I
seen
would
the first
watch
two.
all of the MCU with them. I just don't because they don't want to watch it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have not had the same problem that I've had,
Yeah.
which is my kids learning things from these movies. Particularly words that we don't want them to use. And not like necessarily bad words, but when your son starts saying, "Put me down, you idiot," or "Give me that."
What was that from?
"Give me that, idiot." You know, when he starts saying that, it's like, okay, we need to knock this off right away.
Well, my daughter says stuff, and I'm like, so the problem is, where did you learn that? Was it a movie or was it Mommy? Because you could have learned that from 3 places. You could have, 4. You could have learned that from Mommy, Daddy, something you watched on TV, or like a friend. And I would put under Daddy, Sonny. Sonny's what we call my mom.
Yeah.
Like, my mom may have also taught you that bad word or phrase.
Yeah.
So,
but I
where
mean,
did you learn this?
we know that
Your
we
mom
don't
would.
really use, like, I don't really use the word. I say dummy.
None of us
'cause I
really
think
say
it's-
idiot.
I say dummy because I think it's funnier.
Yeah, idiot's just, it's too...
So, I mean, he didn't learn it from me, but you hear it like when you watch whatever show it is. You know, you hear idiot, and it's probably, for a while we thought it was Mr. Potato Head, like from Toy Story.
Yeah,
Like-
Mr. Potato Head would say that.
He's pretty rude.
Mhm.
But we have been watching lately the Kung Fu Panda series, and it probably comes up in that too. I don't know. But when we watch Kung Fu Panda, man, my kid goes wild. He's doing karate all over the living room.
You know what? If that movie came out when you were his age, I bet you would have been doing karate all over the place.
I would have been doing. I probably would have stuck out karate. Like I would have stayed with it, or kung fu or whatever. But no, I was already late in high school when that movie came out. It was too late for me.
It was a good movie.
It is a good movie. That is a good trilogy.
I haven't seen either. I've seen the first one. That's it.
Yeah. Well, and this goes to my case. We're bouncing all over the place tonight, but our general theme seems to be the movies.
Not really.
So
yeah, we're talking about the movies apparently,
but
not even what our main topic is.
No. I haven't even looked at how long.
23 minutes.
Oh, cool. 23 minutes about the movies. This kind of goes into my case of why I still have DVDs and Blu-rays. Like if it's a movie that I really enjoy, I'm gonna buy a physical copy of it. Like not even a digital copy. I know I'm like a millennial, but I have trust issues for some reason.
I have trust issues with
when it comes to digital content. Like
if you're gonna give me, if I buy the DVD and I get a digital copy, fantastic. I know I have it. Even if you decide not to honor it anymore, I know I've got the physical copy. But since most of the movies I want to watch, like it's really narrow. The Lord of the Rings, my wife hates them, so she won't watch them, but I love them.
I learned something today.
You know what? I understand. I really understand her reasoning.
My wife hates them because I make her watch the extended editions. She loves the originals.
See, my wife thinks the originals are the extended editions. That's the problem.
Man, we haven't watched the extended editions in a while. It might be time for another go.
We should do one of those. Anyways, she doesn't care. I have them, whatever. I have the Harry Potter series, right? That's great. I don't have the MCU because there's 75 movies in it. and now they're throwing in TV shows. But guess what? They're always on Disney Plus. And hopefully in the next couple of years, more will be on. Because the only ones that aren't there right now are the Spider-Mans and the Hulk. And I don't know why the Hulk isn't there.
I don't know.
But I've only seen the Hulk twice.
See, I started
Disney,
a long
if you're
time
listening
ago.
to this, first of all, thank you. And second of all, can we please get the Hulk? I know it's a terrible movie, and I know everybody would like to forget about it, but you are actively trying to resurrect it with your... So please just put it on there. It could be limited time, like 2 months, and then pull it again. Maybe you could do it once a year. Like once a year you throw it on there. A week once a year. And then we forget for the other 51 weeks of the year, we forget it exists. But at least we can reference it once a year so we know what's going on.
I don't know. I started really buying the
those
MCU
are all
movies.
on Disney Plus. So
yeah, and I will probably... I don't own the last ones. I don't own... Honestly, like MCU proper, the only movies I don't own are probably Infinity War and the new Spider-Man movie. I believe I own every other one, including Incredible Hulk.
I know you do, and I keep meaning to borrow it from you.
I have it on DVD.
But you might not get it back for a year. But my issue with that, I was born in the 80s. I had VHS tapes of all of my favorite movies until I got married. I had VHS tapes of all of my favorite movies as a kid. Guess what I haven't had in 20 years? A VCR.
But you never know.
I can't. I couldn't watch them if I wanted to. So now I've gone through a VHS tape to DVD to DVD or HD DVD. No. Excuse me. Let me back up. VCR to Laserdisc to DVD to HD DVD to Blu-ray back to DVD back to Blu-ray because Sony owns. You will never. Well, 10 years ago, you couldn't find a Blu-ray player that wasn't owned by Sony, produced by Sony. Now, I think you can. It's licensing. They've licensed out Blu-ray. So Blu-ray was specifically...
PS4, so I've never worried about it.
I know.
My PS4 is my Blu-ray player.
But you couldn't buy Marvel movies. They didn't produce them.
I don't know. They do now.
Now, I don't know.
Now
I mean, that was a thing years ago.
And my brother has
so what's the next thing going to be?
My brother has a couple of the collectors. I think he has Phase 1 and Phase 2. Collector's collection of MCU, where Phase 1 came in a big suitcase, and you don't get any cases, right? All the Blu-rays come in just little sleeves for what movie
Okay.
it is, but it comes in like Phil Coulson's suitcase. And
That's
it has
cool.
like case files in it. And then phase 2 came
That's cool.
with this little stand that has the orb on it from Guardians of the Galaxy. And you can actually open the orb.
Oh,
And when you opened it, it has this little LED light that shines through a purple stone.
that's
Purple
so
piece of
stupid and
plastic.
cool.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's the Power Stone. And it just shines through. Now I think the batteries are dead, so I don't think it works. But, you know, like he bought it for phase 1 and phase 2. I don't know that he never bought it for phase 3. So, I don't know,
Probably
his
because he
birthday's coming
spent
up.
$300 on this.
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
those
and
were
then
like
your brother
over
is like,
$100 on all those.
I
Like each
would
one.
be surprised if they were under 1,000.
I mean, it's all plastic. It's not like it's that
Yeah, but
cool.
still.
Once a year, right? Once a year, we have to talk about it. Although I
Gotta
think
talk
we talked
about it,
about
gotta
it like
watch it once
4
a year.
times this season.
It's all good. We haven't talked about the MCU at all this year.
Have we? It's been a long season, man. This is episode 30. No, episode 29.
I know. 29, not 30, 29. Close enough to 30.
So what is our
maybe
main
maybe
topic?
next episode we release will be episode 1 of season 4. So we
Maybe.
don't get to 30.
So we never get to 30. What is our main topic tonight?
So today I was at the park with my kid, and a couple other guys showed up.
Make
One
friends?
is an old friend. Yeah, one's an old friend of mine, and he brought his kid, who's quite a bit older. He's, I think, 6. Or going to be 6. And then another one of his friends showed up, and he had some like paperwork kind of questions for my buddy. And so they're doing their thing, and my girls, they decided to be jerks. Or at least one of them was. So she was just tired, didn't nap, so she goes inside. So I'm hanging out playing with my buddy's kid. And my daughter's just kind of there. I think Mabel was just kind of there. And then this other guy's kid was playing around as well. She was doing her own thing. And between 3 of us, and my mom was outside also. She was with us. The 4 of us were kind of, the 2 dads were doing their own thing. The 2 of us were kind of watching the 3 kids. Not really a big deal. They're playing, we're throwing the ball, riding a skateboard. Nothing major. Well, this all goes on, and finally, it's just me, 2 dads, and their 2 kids. Because my kids are like, I'm done. I don't want to be out anymore. They wanted to sit and be chill. And this other guy's kid that I didn't know. I mean, I had never met this guy. Well, I may have. Probably have. But I don't remember. Anyways, I didn't know this girl at all. But all she knew was it was safe. She could come up to me for help. So she wanted to get on the monkey bar. She didn't. She was too small, so I helped her. She's 3, right? She's the same age as my kid. Helped her on the monkey bars. It was great. She wanted to go out to the car. He unlocked the car. We walked out. And I come back, and he's like, "Hey, thanks, man." I was like, "No worries. We all got stuff to do." And I don't today. You know? And it was like it was like a burden off his back to not have to worry about what she's doing. Somebody was there watching it. No, I'm not going to step in and discipline your kid for you. If you think your kid needs disciplining, that's on you.
Yeah.
I will tell them, hey, let's not do something like that because that's dangerous, or we might break it, or it's rude. But I'm not going to discipline your kid.
Sure.
But I'll watch them for you. And I appreciate it when that happens when I'm at the park and I have something else.
So if you have to watch another kid, you're cool with another dad coming and watching your kid.
You know, like today we went to a couple of parks today. We were at the Green Market down at Gardens, and we walked across the street. Community Center, we were playing.
Good park. Solid park.
My mom was with us. That's a good park. It's got multiple areas to play.
Yeah.
And at one point, my kids left, and I'm just watching this kid. We're playing on one of the bigger kids. So there's like the little kid section. Then there's like the not little kid section. But then there's like the big kids. And this girl was playing on not the little kids. It was like an intermediate area. So it was a little bit taller, and no one's around her. Like everyone else is on the other side of the playground. So I was about to walk away, and I thought, let me hang out here for a minute, because I don't know whose kid this is. And if something happens, you know, I don't want the kid to get hurt. Yeah, and forget about liability and all that. I just don't want the kid to get hurt. At least not seriously. So, like, I mean, I hung out with her for a bit, and I kept my distance. I was just watching. But then she went to go play somewhere else, and I turned around and found my kid, so I didn't have to get roped into that again. But, like, I think parents do that at the playground. Like, hey, everybody keep an eye out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was at the park the other day with my kids is we were at
Yeah.
Loggerhead Park, and
Oh yeah. Okay.
there's this other girl there. And when we go to the playground, like, I probably pay too much attention to my kids.
Really?
I'm a little bit more of the worried parent, so like I just try to stay. I kind of hover a safe distance away. I'm not gonna like jump in at a moment's notice if it looks like they're struggling, But I want to keep an eye on them, and especially because my daughter is fearless and she will jump off of anything.
Yep.
So I try to stay pretty close by. Help them if they're trying to climb up something. Just kind of give them a boost up. My daughter loves the swings, so push her on the swings forever. She'll sit there all day. She doesn't care. And so we're at the park, and this other little girl is there and kind of sees like me hanging out with my daughter and son and playing and stuff. Okay. Yeah. And her mom was like sitting over on the bench on the phone, and I felt really bad for her because she like definitely wanted somebody to talk to, like just some kind of attention. She was a little bit older than my kids, probably 5 or maybe 6, at least 5, I'd say, because she spoke pretty clearly. Had on a Maribel shirt. It was cool, but she was just kind of like, "Hey, like, you're playing with your kids. Can I play with you too?" It's like, maybe it was a bad thing to do, but I was like, I'm gonna help my kids. I don't know who you are. I don't really want to touch you. Because she like it. She phrased it in a weird way. She's like, "Yeah, my mom's okay with like strangers come push me on the swings." I was like, "Why would you say that?"
Listen, had you said, "Hey, will you push me on the swings too?" Then I'd have said, "Yeah."
I don't know.
But kid, you made it weird.
You made it weird, And like she can play with my kids. I don't care. But like, I don't know. I got a boundaries thing. I don't really want to. I want to interact with other people's kids as little as possible.
I completely agree with that. There is, and I don't know what it is, but there is a line that I think everybody has with like, I know you or I know of you. So you being here isn't a problem. And then there's like, it's a real fine line because then all of a sudden it's, I don't know who you are. And I'm going to keep my eye on you. Forget the kids. The kids are going to be fine. I'm going to watch you instead, like the parent. Because, like, I've frequently, like, felt that gaze upon me where, like, who are you and why are you picking up my daughter?
Well, you're a friendly guy.
But no, so, like, yesterday we were at the museum yesterday. And I was putting my kid up on, like, letting her hang because Mabel likes to hang from things. And this grandmother walked with her kid. I assume it was a grandmother. I have absolutely no idea. With this little kid, and the kid said something, and I said, "I know, it's so much fun, isn't it?" And the grandma looked at me and said, "She wants you to do it too." I'm like, oh, sure, whatever. That's totally fine. I don't really care, especially since the grandma's like bringing her to me. Whatever, that's fine. But like, I'll help you play on the apparatus. Like, you can't get up there. I'll help you get up there. And that's it. That is my full interaction. And then I'll watch because eyes are helpful, but hands can hurt. And I just made that up, so we should coin that one.
Yeah.
Eyes are helpful, but hands can hurt. But like, yeah, I don't need to be physically interacting with other people's kids to know that everybody's safe, and making sure kids are safe and well cared for and entertained. Like this was a friend's kid, and then a friend of a friend's kid.
Yeah. So
it wasn't super weird, and we were all playing together. My kids were playing with them, so it wasn't. But I don't know. I think dads at the playground. We've got like there's like a thing when dads are playground versus when moms are there, because moms are like, I don't know who you are, but if you come over and talk to me, I'm gonna be very uncomfortable. And it's like we're both parents talking about our kids, I don't need to completely, but it's like I'm not gonna go over and talk to that mom or that dad, that like vice versa. But like if it's a dad, I'll go over and talk to that dad, sure.
Yeah, it's almost like like an awkward expectation of like if you're the dad at the playground and you see another dad at the playground. And it's like, oh, come here often, like,
you're
like trying to make dad friends.
Right.
It's
like that episode of Bluey.
Yeah, it's like that episode of Bluey.
Restaurant.
Yeah. And man, if only life could be more like Bluey.
If every parent watched Bluey, at least every dad watched Bluey, we would get it. Everybody be on the same page.
Yeah, because you don't get it.
You want to play restaurant? Oh yeah, dude.
I don't know. That sounds like you're picking up dudes at the playground.
Explain to me the difference between picking up chicks at the bar and picking up dads at the playground.
Oh boy!
I've never been really good at picking up chicks at a bar, so.
Oh boy!
So a totally different discussion.
Yeah. No, but it's like you get that weird dad energy, and it's like, oh, you don't watch your kids very often, do you? So you brought them to the playground because you thought they could run around and you wouldn't have to interact with them. Oh, you work during the week, huh?
Man, that is a Bluey episode.
Yeah, seriously. Because, like, I take my kids to the playground a lot because I don't like doing arts and crafts at home. I'm not into arts and crafts.
Glitter is the herpes of craft supplies.
Because my wife loves it. She'll break out like the paint and the colors, and I'm just like, I'm not dealing with that. My kid's gonna paint all over the walls. Let's go to the playground. You know?
You and I. So I love to break out the paint, and I love to have paint with my kids and like color and do Play-Doh. And as soon as I break it out, I go, is it too soon to play? Because I will have a great time coloring and painting and playing with Play-Doh. They are going to make a mess.
Yeah. They will scribble on a page and then immediately look for the next thing to scribble on.
Which is usually the wall.
Or their shirt. Yeah, or the
I'm
table.
trying to get them to hold the pen or the crayon correctly. And I don't know why, but today it clicked with me. Hey, honey, why don't we color in the lines?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, it just like it made sense that she would get it today. And she tried. She actually tried to color it. But
oh, that's a fine motor skill.
She tried.
I learned that word from my wife.
Say again?
Fine motor skill.
Yeah, well.
Like developing those fine motor skills. I don't really like to sit and color either. Like, it's just not my jam. It never really has been. So
I love to color.
When it comes to like my kids and they're like, Riley loves it. She always wants to sit and paint and get the markers out. I'm like, you're going to scribble on one page and you're going to stick that thing in your mouth. I'm not doing this.
That's Mabel.
This is not fun.
Mabel does that. You'll start coloring, and I've started giving her one marker because it inevitably.
Yeah. We got some dry erase books that are pretty neat. That are like, they get a dry erase.
Because you can erase it?
Yeah, you can erase it, and then if they draw on the table, you can erase it. And washable, comes out of their clothes. Riley, if you give it to her for too long, she'll do her nails.
Really?
Oh yeah. And there was one day I came home from something, and Riley, she was a clown, and they were playing with some kind of paint outside, and her face was multicolored, and she was doing her makeup with the markers, just like mommy does.
Paying attention?
Mommy was there. I don't remember what Mommy was doing at the time.
Probably trying to keep another kid from doing that.
Yeah, I had just come home and I saw her and I was like, what did you do? She was doing her makeup. Trying to, anyway.
Man, I remember I got in trouble one time. I was older than Mike. I know that because my brother was around. And I'm 4 years older than him. And he was old enough. So we were upstairs and we got into my grandma's makeup. And my brother was green.
That's awesome.
It was pretty funny.
Oh, boy. Well, we've been going for an hour. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the Dad Shoes Podcast, the dad group where you don't have to talk to anyone unless you want to. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topics. Anything from the MCU. Give us your, craziest takes on the MCU, or any comic book movie for that matter. Tell us how much you hated Jared Leto Joker, because I know you did. And what's it like for you making friends at the playground? I was going to say, do you like playing with other people's kids? But that's a weird question to ask.
That is a weird question to ask.
That is a weird one. What are your boundaries when it comes to other people's kids at the playground. You can reach out to us at dadshoespod on Instagram and Twitter, or you can email us at dadshoespod@gmail.com.
Peace.